Health and safety policies, these policies have got their own purposes why they are put in place. So the purpose of health and safety policies is to make sure that there is maintenance of safe, healthy working conditions. Safe and healthy working conditions. These safe and healthy working conditions are for staff, learners, as well as visitors. When we are talking about the health and safety policies, we are talking about policies that are put in place to make sure that there is a maintenance of safe and health working conditions for all staff, visitors, as well as learners. Apart from maintaining the safe and healthy working environment, policies are also there to offer advice. Policies are also there to offer advice on health and safety matters. So whenever you're working at a place, whether you are a visitor, whether you're working there, whether you are a learner at that particular school, there should be some safe working conditions that are supposed to be around to make sure that everybody else is safe. But in case someone is not safe, what happens? There are times a teacher can be hurt, not because they were careless, but because the institution didn't take the necessary precautions. In such a case, that's when now you find people have sued their companies, people have sued schools. This has happened because ABCD happened. So to make sure that you don't have such kind of issues, there are policies that are put in place to make sure that the staff, the visitors, as well as the learners are safe. In case something happens, but at least they should have followed something that was supposed to safeguard them. So apart from making sure that this group of people is safe, or these groups of people are safe, policies, they also offer advice on health and safety matters. It's like a guiding place whereby if something happens, you check what does the policy say. If someone is hurt during working hours, what does it say? If someone is hurt outside working hours, what does it say? So policies are like guidelines that are going to help people. They are going to help all these in terms of health and safety matters. So how does a policy safeguard children? Let us look at how a policy does the safeguarding on the learner. Every child care center is supposed to have a health and safety policy. Every place that is taking care of a child, every child care center is supposed to have health and safety policy. And in their health and safety policy, they must include the following. The first one, within whatever they're going to write there, but they should make sure there should be clear rules for children's behavior. Clear rules. Do you agree that the behavior of a child can be a source of harm, can be hazardous? Yes. So children are supposed to be told clearly how it is expected of them to behave. Because if they are going to behave otherwise, children can harm fellow children. So it may not be healthy for other children to be around them. There are other children that are bullies. So if a child is a bully, it is not going to be safe or healthy for someone else to be learning within the same environment. So policies that are supposed to be put out in all child care centers, they should include a clear rule on how the child is supposed to behave. Apart from that, they should also include policies for the supervision of children. So if an institution, here is an institution that has got teachers, they should make sure that rules are supposed to be put in place. One, these rules, as far as behavior is concerned, it is supposed to be stated out clearly. Therefore, these rules are supposed to be taught to the learners, no matter how young they are, but at the same time, they should also be communicated to the parents. So that when these children are within their household, parents should be able to tell them. But at the same time, if a parent is going to be called and be told to say, we are removing your child from our school because of A, B, C, D, the parent should not be surprised, because it has been stipulated that the moment a child is a bully, the moment a child keeps fighting, or they are not doing A, B, C, D, they are going to be removed. So the parent is not going to be surprised, because it has been stated within the policies of the school. But apart from that, the policies also, there should be policies for supervision of children. They should also be outlined. So these child caretakers, they are supposed to have a list of do's and don'ts that are supposed to be listed for them, so that they should know this is what is expected of me. In case something happens, they will go through the list to say, did you do one? Did you do number two? Did you do number three? No. Then it means you didn't follow this. And therefore, if you didn't follow this, this is what follows. What is happening? Policies for supervision of children. These, if the policies are going to be followed, if the policies are thorough, then the child is going to be safe. It's going to be safe as well as healthy. Remember, we said functions of policies, right? Is to maintain safe and healthy environment for the groups that we have talked about. So if the school has got policies that are clear, policies that are good enough, and the policies are followed, the child is going to be assured of his healthy as well as a safe environment to learn in. Again, apart from including clear rules as well as policies for supervision, the policy should also have policy for collecting children from the center. It has to be clearly stated. How should the children be picked? Why is this important that parents and the school, they are supposed to, parents, school, when I'm talking about school, I'm talking about the administration as well as the teachers. So why is it important that these groups are supposed to agree on who and when the child is going to be picked? What is the importance of this policy? If it is important at all. To ensure Ruth says to ensure children's safety, yes, but then how is it coming in? To avoid unnecessary accidents. What kind of accidents are these? Wesley says it can be a road accident. Yeah. Before you come in, wisdom. Okay, so if a parent is coming in to pick a child, how are you going to prevent a road accident that is supposed to happen somewhere close to their house?
Okay, I try to maybe
I said, why is it important that there should be a policy for collecting children from the center? Yes. Well, how did you understand it?
I didn't understand the last. I didn't understand from the friend.
Ah, okay, fine. Yes, wisdom.
think
To
to avoid human trafficking,
avoid human trafficking. Yeah. True. All right. So during the PTA meetings, the parents are supposed to be told. Or have you ever watched these guys when they're being picked? When a car comes in, you actually see before it even stops, Brenda, and then another car comes in. Isaac, Irene, Maria, it's time to go. What is happening? These guys are used to these people that come in to pick their children. So there should be a policy whereby the caretakers should know Maria is picked by whether the mother or the father. So if the mother or the father are not coming, these guys are supposed to call. We are busy, we are not picking the child, but we have sent someone else who is going to use our car to come in to pick the child. So the caretakers know, okay, today Maria is not going to be picked by the mother or the father, but somebody else is coming. So when the car comes, they're supposed to ask, who are you? Who are you picking? So if the story is Tariq, that's fine. So they know, we have been informed, he is not coming in. But at the same time, whoever calls, they should be using the numbers that were registered. Because it is possible somebody calls from a different number and says, oh, Maria today is not going to be picked, but when they are not the parents. So these policies, they should go in all these places to make sure that whoever is calling is really the person. So you get a call from parents to say that they are not picking the child, make sure it is really the child, the parent that's calling. How do you do that? Initially, the parents are supposed to submit their numbers. So if it's not this number, it's a strange one. The policy has to stipulate to say, we're not going to release this child. So the caretakers, they should know who picks the children, but at the same time, if the parents are not coming to pick their children, they should inform the school to say, we are not coming to pick the child. So that okay. So I was saying, that is in order, right? We have understood why policies are supposed to be put in place in as far as picking of the child is concerned. Okay. So there are also times that the mother and the father are separated. So the child lives with one of the parents. And this parent that is keeping the child makes sure that my child should not go to the other parent. So that has to be told that has to be told to the school to say no one else is supposed to do this, because there are times the father lives with a child and doesn't want the mother to take hold of her. Nde amayi amadzabwera ukamutenga mwana kumapita bamboso nkubwera and you go like, I told you this is not supposed to happen and blah. Tinkati milandu nosadziwika bwino. So policies are supposed to be put in place. Apart from that, how children are supposed to be collected, yes, about the people, but also time. You just can't leave your child at the child care center the whole day, because the teachers are also supposed to go home. So you're supposed to say, all right, we start school at 8, we finish at 1. Make sure by 2, every child is out of the premise. If you pick your child by 4, you're supposed to pay. If you pick your child by 3:30, you're going to pay. Because now somebody else was supposed to wait for that child, and this is kind of like, what do we call this? Overworking? Extra, they are supposed to be paid extra money, and therefore you are going to pay for this one that has been waiting for your child. That has to be stipulated, so that when you're asking for money from the parent, they should not be surprised to say, why are you doing this? But that has to be put in writing. And again, like you have said, child protecting policies are supposed to also to be listed down properly. Child protecting policies. Child protection policy, they are supposed to be stipulated. So we are saying all child care centers must have a health and safety policy that includes clear safety rules, policies for supervision, policy for collecting children, child protecting policy, and reporting defective equipment that needs repair or replacement. That's part of it. Reporting defective equipment that needs replacement or repairing. If there is something in your classroom or in the school environment that is not working, that has to be reported. If something that is malfunctioning, it is supposed to be reported, because something that is not working properly can be harmful. Or maybe you've got a fire extinguisher that's not working. That has to be reported, because now it is something that we are relying on in case of fire. But if it's not working, it is not safe for the environment, whether it's a visitor, whether it's a child learner, whether it is a teacher himself. Provision of safety equipment. Provision of safety equipment should also be included. Not just providing the safety equipment, but instructions on how this equipment is supposed to be used should also be stipulated properly. So how you can safeguard the children also is to make sure that there is a termly as well as weekly safety inspection around the premises. So you just go around to make sure is everything okay. So termly or weekly inspection of the premises should take place. And it is a duty of the head teacher to make sure that all these policies are being followed. All the health and safety policies are followed. That's a duty of the head teacher. So suppose you are a head teacher in a school, how would you make sure that these policies are taken care or are followed? How can you make sure that this school that I am heading, it is following all the health and safety measures? Pradesh, a headmistress. You have your room as a head teacher seated in there, yes. But as a head teacher, as the head of the institution, make sure that everything else is followed. Your surrounding is safe. How do you do that? Inviting PTA meetings? Okay, so how is a PTA meeting going to help in ensuring that your school is following the health and safety measures? Or she can invite PTA meeting based on what you do as a head teacher of an institution.